This live stream today. All right, welcome to my channel. This is the Holistic Flow Collective channel, and on this channel, I dedicated it to talks around community health and wellness, mentally, physically, spiritually, and throughout the month of February, I've been doing a daily live stream. Um, each day of the live stream, I discussed a wellness topic, and it seemed to really get a good response. So every Thursday, I will be doing a live stream just like these, where I'll be talking about a wellness, mental health or wellness topic. Um, and my intent is for it to be a collaboration, a conversation around mental wellness. And the word collective in the channel name, Holistic Flow Collective, is for me and also for community because that's my aim on this channel is to build community around wellness and health mentally, physically, and holistically. So today's topic is how to be more unbothered. And while this is a really common thing that people want to learn how to do, I think personally it's within oneself this to find this ability to be unbothered. Along with that, we're going to explore how to not take things so personally, how to improve your interpersonal skills with others, maybe people that you get along with, people that you don't get along with very well, and how to handle emotions better. And we all feel the need to do that because our emotions rule everything. Our mind, the way our brain processes new information, and also our daily communication with other people, which is super important. So yeah, um, you're gonna see me pull out my notebook because I have a couple of notes on this. I'm definitely a writer. So how to be unbothered? First of all, like the art of like the word unbothered to me, it really means it doesn't mean like not caring, but it really means to be emotionally uncompromised when things don't go your way. To be emotionally unfazed when someone says something to you, trying to get on your nerves or trying to get under your skin that day, and you're just not having it in the way that you're just gonna choose to be unfazed by it. And this is something that is a learned skill that I've had throughout the years, or that I've gradually developed throughout the years, and I didn't used to have. However, the first thing I'll say is, you know how they say fake it till you make it? Well, that's real. You can fake it till you make it. Because no matter if you're suppressing emotions, if if you act like you're feeling a certain emotion, most likely sooner or later you're gonna feel it. So, there was this study done where like like a group of people, one group, I guess the main study group or whatever, um, in response to what the researchers said, they smiled and they just, even if it was a fake smile, even if they didn't feel happy, they smile. And then the control group or whatever, they didn't smile. So in essence, what it shows is that the group who smiled, even when it was a voluntary smile, even when they may not have felt happy or joyful, before the smile, after the smile, they started to feel more happy and joyful because they know, and because of that research, they found out that the way that you fake your emotions can actually produce a result of you feeling that emotion. So, fake it till you make it is real, honestly. And if you want to start to be like less bothered by the things that people say to you, take things less personally, and maybe go off on people less, the first thing is to learn how to fake it until you make it. And really, it's not faking it because you start to feel it later. It's not that you might be faking it on the front end, but then on the back end, though, you start to actually feel the emotions that you are faking. So, yeah, how to be unbothered. The first thing that I think of is it's not you, it's them. So when we talk about like being unbothered, it's it's a thing we have to practice so that we get better at interpersonally talking to people, interacting with people, and responding to the BS that some other people have in their brains that they spew out to the world. Yeah. So it's not you, it's them. Um, you know how when like when you're about to like break up with somebody and you're the one who wants to, break up with it. Have you ever broken up with anybody before you was in a relationship with? Raise your hand. I've done it. I've done it multiple times. And you think to yourself, you want to end this relationship. They might not want to. They might want to hold on to it because they don't see the things that you see are wrong. You know that there's more problems within yourself that you need to fix, you need to heal, or you just need to move on from that person. And you hit him with this line right here. It's not you, it's me. And you know what? It be true because it do be them. When somebody says that, believe them, okay? Because it's true. If someone is hurting you, regardless of whether they intend to or not, by hurting your feelings, breaking up with you, saying something mean, nasty, rude, doing something rude to you, regardless of whether or not they intend to actually hurt your feelings, because your feelings are going to be compromised by it, the saying, it's not you, it's me, the person who's saying that is right because they're the one who has a deeper issue within themselves that kind of makes them spew out more hurt to other people. Even if it's just plain and simply, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. They're the ones who doesn't want that and they have to deal with the emotions that come with that that are premeditated, you know. If you've ever broken up with someone before and you've said that line, it's not you, it's me, then beforehand, when you broke up, before you broke up with them, you probably felt a little bad that you were going to do it in the first place. So, yeah, it's always, and this is another thing I say, ooh, excuse me, it's been a long day. This is another thing I like to remind myself of. Don't take things personally if the person who's giving it to you isn't being personal about it. And let's just say you don't know the person personally. You in the parking lot, you finna go into the grocery store. So you wanna drive into this parking space. And you're taking your time driving into the parking space when somebody swerves in front of you and really quickly like slides into the same parking space that you was sliding into. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I would take something like that personal because especially if they did something like look me in the eye while they was doing that, that's kind of delinquent. But anyways, most people would take that personally, right? But the thing is, the person who did that and because of their actions, they caused you some emotional bitterness that day. They actually have a problem with themselves because it's something wrong with them for real. Um, So when somebody else has a problem, why do we take it personally? We literally choose to take someone else's emotions or take someone else's baggage from that day and apply it to our own situation. When we take things personally and when we get bothered by other people's mess, we're literally taking emotions that we didn't have from another person, and we're kind of like allowing ourselves to absorb whatever negative energy they got going on for that day, and then we choose to let it impact us. The thing about humans is that a lot of the times our brains prioritize negative emotions instead of prioritizing positive emotions, because there could be so many things throughout your day that happened that were good. You didn't get in a car accident today. You were able to drive everywhere that you needed to. You had enough money to fill up your gas tank. You had a good meal today. Some people don't get to eat. It's like all those things are really good things, but because we do them every single day, they're usually our norm. And then one thing happens where it sends us or can send us down a negative spiral, like someone cutting us off in the parking lot, and we take it personally. So, to avoid being bothered by the things that other people do, we have to realize that we can't control things that happen outside of ourselves. That means we can't control other people's actions, um, and we can't control other people's emotions or what they do or say. Um, you know what? I'm gonna sit down. The light just isn't over here. The lighting isn't great. But anyways, that's why I was standing up. So we can't control other people's emotions. We can't control other people's actions, but we can always control how we react to other people's thoughts, emotions, and actions. So, number one, I think I have 3 points today. So, number one, to how to be more unbothered is to not take things personally. Yeah, not take things personally. And then number two is don't focus on the things that you can't control, like another person's actions. All we're doing is causing ourselves more mental stress, because there's nothing worse than stressing over something that you can't control. Even when we know we can't control it, sometimes we stress over it anyways. But focus on the things that we can control. And this is a learned practice. You act like in order to do this, you actually have to practice mindfulness. Because if you don't practice mindfulness, you actually are not able to um, catch yourself slipping. Like sometimes I be catching myself slipping sometimes. What I mean is, if someone I don't know does something dumb and it kind of pisses me off in the moment, instead of going off on them or like having an immediate reaction of like talking to them or retaliating, I kind of hesitate a little bit and I think about my actions. And I think, do I want the smoke? Do they want the smoke? Does anybody want smoke in here? No, I don't think anybody does. So, in order to practice that level of mindfulness, we have to every single day sit with our own thoughts. That is why I promote meditating every single day. And if you don't meditate at all, you can start with a simple guided meditation, a mindfulness meditation, and focus on your breathing. And then when your mind wanders during the meditation, just refocus on your breathing. You can choose to listen to audios on YouTube, which is what I did when I first started meditating, of anywhere in between 5 to 20 minutes, 5 minutes for a beginner, and then up to 20 minutes for a experienced meditator, practitioner, whatever you want to call it, but do it every day. Like whatever you do, practice mindfulness every day. In this case, mindfulness and meditation can be interchangeable. The reason why we want to do that is because we can't. We can't expect to not pop off on people when they piss us off immediately if we're not practicing like being calm and being aware of our actions every single day. If we don't practice it every single day when we're in that situation and someone does some dumb stuff, we're gonna like retaliate because it's like an automatic response for our body and from for our mind. So calm our mind, realize that we are not able to control certain things, focus on the things that we can control, which are our own actions and our own daily habits of mindfulness and breath work and, honestly, emotional regulation and emotional management. And then we'll be better able to handle the situations when other people do things to either intentionally or non-intentionally get on our nerves. You ever been in a fight with somebody? Like maybe it's like a verbal fight, right? And then somebody has to have the last sentence, the last say. So this is what I learned. This is how you win a fight, an argument. Let me not say fight. This is how you win an argument. This is how you win. Right? Ready? The person says, da 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 da. You say, yeah, well, da 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 da. And then they say da 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 da. And then you just stop talking. You'd be like, okay, okay. Because if if someone else is so adamant about getting their point across, maybe they're not listening to you, maybe they're trying to frustrate you intentionally or not intentionally, but there's no seeing eye to eye. That's really frustrating, right? I get really bothered when people try to argue with me because I think most of the time I'm right, and I'm not an arguer. That's just personally, that's just me. I'm not an arguer because I just stand on facts and I stand on business. And if you're not coming with facts, I don't got nothing to say. So in my case, that's probably why I don't get in arguments because people don't like arguing with me because I always win. The way I win is that if they're trying to argue and get louder and raise their voices, shows that the other person's really passionate and maybe even really aggressive with or assertive, or you can interchange those sometimes with what they're saying. And when I feel like, if I'm not listened to, if in the conversation my perspective is not being validated, all of a sudden I just say, okay, and then be quiet. And some people would say that's passive aggressive, but I would say it's kind of giving up, but also at the same time knowing when enough is enough. Knowing when, like, how they say, like, don't fight fire with fire. Well, when you fight it and then the fighting isn't going anywhere, what's the point of still fighting? When the other person is not seeing their wrongdoings and maybe you also are not seeing some wrongdoings of yourself. Let's just humble ourselves. We all do wrong. We all fail to see from another person's perspective occasionally, some more than others. So there's always two sides to a story. But that's literally one of my main ways to not be so bothered. And the me saying the okay, 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 and then backing out of a conversation is a way to de-escalate um and disengage. So sometimes you just got to disengage from all the hoopla because you realize it's not worth it. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your energy. And if you can't see eye to eye with people, sometimes it isn't even worth explaining yourself any further if you feel like you just have to use your own discernment. But if you feel like it's not going to be heard, it's not going to be seen, the point isn't going to get across, sometimes it's not worth the time, it's not worth the energy. You could put that time and energy into something else more meaningful and more impactful. So yeah, um, not being unbothered is all about not taking things personally knowing when to kind of like back down from aggressiveness or assertiveness as well. Learning when to be the better person or like turn the other cheek. And I mentioned taking things personally, right? Well, that's pretty much it. Also, if you're on this live stream, give it a thumbs up and like my live. I'll be going live every Thursday. So, what questions do you have during this live, or also what else do you want to see me talk about in terms of mindfulness and mental health? Because I can talk, um, and I can talk a lot. I love talking about these type of things, and I would love for the topic of discussion to be more conversive. And if you ever feel like you relate to anything that I'm saying, then just comment in the chat below. Let me know which part of it you relate to, and then also tell your own experience with the topics of discussion. I'm looking to see if there's anything else that I have on this topic, but that is pretty much it. And my live streams will probably around this length if there are no comments, nothing to respond to. But eventually I want to have this be a whole discussion. Um, and that's why it's called the Holistic Flow Collective. It can't be a collective without the community. So again, if you're on the live stream, like the video, and also go back to the previous days where I went live like for most of this month. And I talked about each day, I talked about a different topic surrounding mindfulness and mental health and wellness. So, like for example, the ramifications of always being the strong friend, I think that one was very popular. And listening to your body instead of always pushing your body. Embracing a softer life so that you can find more joy. Embracing your or embracing your ability to make your life easier, embracing receiving, especially if you're always the person who gives out to other people. We also talked about being okay sitting with your own thoughts. Okay, so I will say this about being more unbothered. You have to be okay with sitting with your own thoughts. Sometimes one of the reasons, I mean, almost all the time actually, one of the reasons why we're having difficult times processing emotions, dealing with emotions when they come up, and talking about emotions is because we're afraid to sit with our own thoughts. We neglect sitting with our own thoughts. Think about it, okay? So mental health and wellness is the thing that we neglect the most. But if it ever hi Vegeta otaku Vegeta 7. Sorry, I butchered your name at first. If you take care of your health, like, you go to get your teeth cleaned, I go to the dentist. You go get your hair done, your nails did, and your lashes, toes done, get waxed or get, your eyebrows, whatever you get done, right? We love to take care of the outside. We even love to buy nice clothes and look fly and clean and put the moisturizer all on the skin, face routine, skin glowing, dewy look. And we love to dress up the outside and make it look real pretty, but the inside, like our actual brain in our mind, it it be it be neglected. Like our mental health is literally the most neglected because we don't spend half as much time on our mental health and caring for what's inside. And I think the reason why is because human beings, we can be so superficial. Like we can be so caught up with the outer layers of self and what other people can see because like to us, a lot of us, what other people can see is the only thing that matters. If you can see it, it matters. If you can't see it, it's not that important. Like I'm in pain. I've been in pain for years, as we tell ourselves. I've been in pain for years, but it's okay because other people can't see it. I mean, I could feel it, but you know, it's starting to get a little worse each year. I sit on it and don't do nothing about it, but I'm still living, I'm still breathing. No, we have to get like more proactive about dealing with the insides, the mental, the spiritual. Like all of this is so much more important than the physical, but we treat it the opposite. We treat it the opposite. It's flip-flop. Like we treat the physical like it's so much more important than the mental, but we got it backwards. That's really why we're having a difficult time controlling our emotions and just dealing with the things because, it's hard right now. Life is hard, especially if you live in America. It's a lot of hoopla going on in these streets. But they say there's nothing new under the sun. There really isn't. There's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. Humanity has dealt with some of the same things, a lot of the same things, probably all the same things over and over. They just kind of like looked a little different, like the package that they come in is a little different. But humanity has dealt with these problems over and over and over. Like life has no new stuff going on. It just repeats itself. Everything is a cycle. So while we're dealing with the things that life hands to us, like we can't control what life brings us. We can't control what life hands to us. We just have to get better at practicing controlling what's in here and not worrying about what's outside of our bodies. The superficial self is not going to last. It's not going to last. One day, our face is going to be wrinkly and there's going to be nothing we can do about it. However, you're going to have the mental fortitude if you take care of it. One day, you gonna get a little hunchback and the outside is not gonna be glowing, the skin ain't gonna be glowing as much as glowing when you young and stuff. So we take care of our physical appearance and drive nice cars and we want to get nice things on the outside, but like the inside is so neglected. It's so neglected. The 2026 year of the fire horse is so intense, and I want to know how to avoid burnout and chronic anxiety from racing negative thought and worry causes fatigue. So, yoga, meditation. My bad, y'all. Um, so it is the year of the horse, and it's intense. It is intense for sure. So yeah, you want to know how to avoid burnout and chronic anxiety from racing negative thought. Thanks as well for commenting. Yes, I definitely will do another live stream on this. And I'll also touch on this a little bit. Because how to avoid burnout is super a super common conversation that I have in everyday life with people, mainly because I suffer from not sitting still syndrome, not being able to sit still. I can't. I'm always doing something, and I've often had to have life force me into situations where I just have to rest because the burnout is real. For me, my personal struggle with this is about inside here. I never feel like I'm doing enough. I can do the most literally all the time and still never feel like it's enough. Because for me personally, I'm usually always looking for the next project, the next thing to do, the next thing to fix in my life or someone else's life. Um, and if you relate to that, if that's one of the things that you feel like causes burnout, then my words of wisdom would be how much time during each day of your life do you intentionally block out for you to have intentional rest or free time? Because one of the main reasons for burnout is because our lives are structured around work and the next project, the next thing that we're going to do. The rat race, like, the rat race effect is real. The rat race brain will tell you literally, even after you get to this milestone, there's another milestone to get to. So it's kinda like this, right? All of us want to climb the mountain to achieve whatever is at the top of the mountain, right? That's why we run the rat race. That's why we're working to what we're working. Maybe we're trying to have a certain amount of money in savings. We're trying to take a trip somewhere. We're trying to own a house. We're trying to buy a car. We're trying to, whatever it is. And oddly enough, all of those stemmed from financial gains that we want. But it's, I mean, it's like burnout for almost all of us, financials is the reason. Let's not lie, right? So we work, 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 climb the mountain. And then here's the crazy part, right? Once you get to the top of the mountain, you be like, you finally peek your head over the edge. You're like, oh my gosh, look at this view. It's so beautiful. You finally achieved whatever you want to achieve. You got the amount of money in the bank that you wanted to get. You took the trip that you wanted to take. Now you bought the car, you bought the house, you got the apartment. Now you like, this view looks nice. I finally achieved it. Then you like, man, all right, this was nice. I'm ready for the next mountain to climb, right? Because you done achieved what you were working so hard to achieve. But then after that mountain, we right on to the next thing to achieve, the next mountain to climb. And burnout comes when we don't take enough time to look at that view of the top of the mountain and really, I mean, really appreciate that view for as long as we can. It's really about being content. It's really about being content. And I think a lot of us are afraid of being content because we're afraid of being complacent. And we equate being content with your life to being complacent with where you are in life. And they're not the same because if I were to say right now, right, the position that I am in life, right, I'm in a life transition. Um, I, a couple months ago, I was stressed. I was not able to see my family because I was like living abroad and like my work schedule wasn't allowing me to, you know, come home when I wanted to. I also culturally was not in an environment that I feel like allowed me to flourish as in the personality that I have, right? So I had all these things and I wrote down in my journal like what I want my life to look like. I want to be able to see my family more. I want to be able to relate to the people around me and the culture around me. Um, and I want to have more free time. I wanted to have more free time. I like the job, but I want to have more free time. And then a couple months later, I ended up having to like move back to the US. And then, I'm back in my parents' house, living in my parents' house again. And then I'm also like having more free time. So, like, honestly, and then, there's a lot more things that within that time frame I wanted for my life that now I have all of those things. More free time, see my family every day. I'm back in the US. I can relate to everybody and speak the same language and see people that look like me and not feel othered, you know, and I have a lot of free time. I mentioned that free time, right? And I have a lot more time to be creative and contribute to the YouTube channel and see friends too. I have a lot more time to take care of my health, to work out, to actually go to the gym 5 days a week. I didn't have that a couple months ago, but I asked for all of those things and I have them now. But even now, I'm like, okay, I didn't plan on moving back to the US. I didn't plan on moving back to my parents' house. What's next? Like, where am I going to go from here? And it's literally like, I actually asked for a lot of the things that I have right now. But instead of being content with what I have right now, I actually saw right past the fact that I have what I wanted because now what I want is something different than what I have. And that's like the story of our lives because You can ask for something a couple years ago and not realize that right now you're in the same situation that you asked for a couple years ago, and you have it right now, but it doesn't look exactly like how you thought it would look, so you don't want it no more. It's like now you're like, man, I'm not even content with this. I want something else. But it's like we'll never be content if the situation that we're in right now is something that we're always looking to change. So I would say, yeah, like the thing that leads to burnout the most, one of the most, and thanks again for your comment. And then also if you're enjoying this conversation, give it a thumbs up. So yeah, the thing that leads to burnout the most is not being content with where we are, and we're not able to be content for a long enough time to actually enjoy the season that we're in, because we're always looking for the next mountain to climb and the next big thing to achieve so we can feel some type of thrill from our lives. We're just looking for the thrill. We're looking for the excitement and the big picture. But the thing is, like, you know, that big picture, that thrill, that highlight reel that we're searching for is only usually for like a couple seconds in our lives. And if every second of our life is like a highlight reel, if every second of our life is like we're getting to the top of the mountain and we're at the peak, if every second of our life is the peak of our life, then we'll never have a peak to begin with. We'll just always be in the mundane. Oh, I heard this once. It was really good. It was really good. It was like, if every single day was your best day ever, then you would not have any best days, actually. Because if every day is the best, then there is not a framework for what actually is best. Like, we'll really be confused on what's good and what's bad. Like, what's a good day, what's a bad, or what's a, I wouldn't say good and bad. What's a up day, what's a down day? What's a rose and what's a thorn? I like that better. Because if we chase that peak, we'll be at the peak all the time. And you can't have lows without highs, and you can't have highs without lows because you won't be able to tell that they're high if you were never low. So embracing, yeah, this is a good one. Avoiding burnout is all about and also chronic anxiety. Like these go hand in hand because I've also I wouldn't say I've dealt with chronic anxiety, but I've dealt with anxiety for sure. And one of the main things around the burnout and the anxiety is always chasing that. It's like you're on a hamster wheel. So be more content and realize that being content with your life is not being complacent. They're not the same thing. Mm, Being complacent is not wanting to change. You can be content with your life and be happy exactly where you are and still want to change it. That's the thing. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. This fire horse year is the year of self-expression, clarity, and courage. I know you'll find your path. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate you for speaking that onto me. And yeah, thanks so much for your comment, your interaction as well. Um, so yeah, y'all, if you're enjoying this discussion, give it a thumbs up. Um, I'll be on live for like 5 more minutes. If you all, what other questions do you have that you want me to answer like in the last 5 minutes? And then next week, come back next Thursday and I'll talk about more ways. I'll talk more on how to avoid burnout and chronic anxiety from racing negative thoughts. So thank you, Otaku Vegeta 7. um, and yeah, yoga and meditation can definitely help. So, like for me, what yoga has done for me to help with anxiety and racing thoughts is it gets me thinking. It actually doesn't get me thinking. It takes away my thinking and it takes away my human mind because I think the human mind for me it gets in a way of just streams of consciousness like the flow state, you know? And that's what we're all about here on the Flow, the Holistic Flow Collective. So the flow state is a state where going, you're not thinking about the next big move or the next big thing. You're just existing, honestly. It feels amazing to just exist and not feel like you have any obligations for anything. You're just flowing. And I believe the human brain is meant to just flow and simply exist without the anxiety of thought. If you think about it, the amount of things that influence our thoughts is like 95% of our brain. I would say, like, if I were to guesstimate, 95% of our brain is not our original thoughts. They are ideas that are influenced by what we watch on Netflix and Hulu, what we watch on YouTube and Instagram Reels and Facebook Live streams. Um, your thoughts are being influenced right now as we speak by watching me. I mean, that is one of the reasons that I create content because I want to create more than I consume. And I know that there's a lot of fluff out here, there's a lot of hoopla out here. And simply put, there's a lot of information that just speaks to hijack our brains into a certain type of thought. But the commercials that we watch, what we watch on our phone screens, our job, our boss, politics, news, like all of these things, they are implanting ideas in our mind every second of the day. So it just goes to show that 90, like I would literally say like 95% of what goes in through our head is not even our original thoughts. They are influenced ideas. That's all that's in our head. And I believe the human brain is meant to just simply exist and not think. We're just supposed to exist and not think. So when I'm on my yoga mat, when I get in the when I get in the gym, so I go to the gym 5 days a week, and then I'm in my own world. When I get on my yoga mat, I'm in my own world because whenever I move my body, I'm flowing. I'm not thinking. Like thought is ideas aren't influencing my brain so much. It's just a flow state. You move your body, you're breathing, and then your mind is mostly focused on your breath and your body movement. It's not focused on, oh, what am I gonna eat for lunch today? Oh, I have to cut back on my spending. I spend too much money. Like it's not, we're not thinking about bills. We're not thinking about anything of that nature. When you move your body and just get in the flow state, that's how I feel when I practice yoga. I'm simply there to exist. I'm not there to be I'm not there to be an experiment. I'm not there to be influenced by the thought of the world. So, yeah, you all, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for your comments. If you're watching on the replay as well, give this live a thumbs up. I'll be back next Thursday, probably in the morning time. Um, But maybe okay, what I'll do is I will put a poll on my channel right after this live stream ends. So like in a minute, I will ask, would you prefer to me to go live in the morning or in the evening? And I will put the time zones in Eastern Standard Time because that's the time zone I'm on right now. And then whatever time zone that is that you all vote for, I will go live at that time next week. I'm thinking it might be 8 p.m. 8 p.m. looks like a pretty good time for everyone. So next week, around the same time, and we will talk more about, how to relieve your anxiousness and racing thoughts, yoga and meditation, and how they help with that. So again, thank you so much. I appreciate you all. And drink your water. Drink your water. Have a great rest of your day. afternoon, or evening, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Thanks. Peace.